Eagle Nation, what up? Today we have some intriguing quotes from an Eagles vet about their new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Also a shocking quote from a former Eagle who is now retired. We'll talk about all that, but we start off with what I would call one of the more underrated X-Factor players going into this next season. Welcome on into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do us a favor, like the show, subscribe, don't miss any of the coverage. We got to talk about Sidney Brown, man. Here is what he said a couple days ago about this upcoming season and how he is trying to rehab. Quote, "I'm back to moving full speed. I'm running about 22 miles per hour again, slowly climbing it up there. I'm still working on lateral movement, but I'll be as close to 100% as I can by the start of the season, and we will see what happens with that." That is what Eagles safety Sidney Brown said, and honestly, I feel like this whole offseason, he's just been lost in the mix, right? Do people even remember he's on this team? He started to play really well down the end of the season as a rookie. After injuries, he was asked to step in, do a big job, and I think Sidney Brown held his own, if I'm being honest. Like, hard hitter, a lot of energy in his play style, and, just a guy who was coming up with some really big plays. He had the 99-yard touchdown return, pick six against Arizona, and unfortunately, I think it was either after that or the next game, the last one of the season, he tore his ACL and he was out for the rest of obviously that season. And, who knows if he'll be back to start this next season, but it sounds like he's, making a good rehab process here. And, he's starting to get close to 100%. Hopefully he will be back to begin the season. I think obviously having CJ Gardner-Johnson back and Reed Blankenship is huge, but if one of them goes down, or if maybe Reed Blankenship, for example, doesn't play up to par, Sidney Brown is a guy who could step right in and hopefully fulfill a role. And the Eagles are going to have a lot of depth, a lot of guys fighting for different positional battles. And I think Sidney Brown has definitely earned a shot at competing. Like I said, people keep forgetting about this guy, but in 14 games last year, just 6 games started, he did have 45 tackles, 32 solos, and again, he did have the pick six as well as a forced fumble. So if Sidney Brown can live up to that potential as a former third-round pick, only in his second year, maybe he could give this team a little added boost. What do you think? Should Sidney Brown be in the mix? Should he play a lot this season? Give me your thoughts down below in the comment section. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, I want to talk about what Darius Slay had to say about Vic Fangio, because we know what happened in Miami, right? A lot of guys have kind of come out and say they don't like the way he coaches, and I guess maybe have taken, subliminal shots at his character. But all I've heard so far on the Philly side of things is this guy's pretty good. Like, he holds us accountable, he's tough, and he holds us to a standard and is counting on us. So here's what Darius Slay said, quote, "I don't know what happened over there, but Vic Fangio is a great dude." Now, elaborating a little bit more on his pod, he says that his first impressions of Vic Fangio were, quote, "I think he's doing a great job. He's quiet, though. He's a guy where you got to go into his office. He's very detailed. He tells you for every position what needs to be done, how to do it, and goes about his day. And he seems like the kind of coach, like, if you don't do what I need you to do, I don't care how much you get paid, I'm benching you." The Eagles did not have that last year. There have been times where they have not had that in the past, and that is what you need, right? No BS, no crap. If you're not doing your job, it doesn't matter what your name is or what school you came from or what your contract looks like. If you're not producing, you got to go. You're not playing. That is the type of coordinator and coaching staff that I think a successful team needs, because you're going to have times where veterans fall off. You're going to have times where rookies emerge. You're going to have times where certain guys come out of nowhere and are having great seasons. And I feel like the Eagles always have these guys that kind of pop up and they don't see repetition. A guy will come out and have 5 catches, and then the next week you're like, where did he go? Or a guy will come out and get a couple sacks, and, after that, they might not get as many snaps. I don't understand why. I like this mentality from Vic Fangio, and I like Darius Slay giving him some praise, right? Talk him up a little bit. Let him know that the players are on his side, especially after, he's probably heard things about what happened, with the Miami team and what they said about him. I like this, right? Go in as a unit and start off on the same mindset. Also, Chris Long talked about Jalen Carter on his podcast. Former Eagle Super Bowl champ Chris Long He says, quote, "When I watch him, he makes me want to put my pads on and join the team again so I can be like, hey, bleep, you can be the best ever. You could be a guy talked about as one of the greatest Eagles D linemen of all time. He's that talented." Jalen Carter was no doubt the steal of the draft last year. The fact that Howie got the number 9 and drafted him is insane. And when it all boils down to it, I really think that injury last year messed up Jalen Carter. Now, again, they switched coordinators. Guys were confused left and right. They looked like deer in headlights. But Jalen Carter, I think, is going to be a 5, 6, 7-time Pro Bowler. I think he has a chance to be one of the Eagles' best defensive linemen ever and maybe even get into the Hall of Fame. I agree with Chris Long. Based on just the things we've seen on tape and what we saw in those first couple weeks last year, like before that injury, we were talking about Jalen Carter as if he was going to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Like, he was that good. He was that dominant. And there's no reason now with another year of experience, right? And another year of getting in better shape, things like that, getting acclimated to the NFL style, that he's not going to come out here and just be superior to the rest. I really believe Jalen Carter is going to be a monster this year. He would be, I guess if you want to call it a breakout candidate this year, I think Jalen Carter could have a 9, 10, 11 sack year. That's pretty much one of my bold takes going into the season already. I cannot wait to see what he's doing, but just seeing him get a guy like Chris Long, who's been around the game a while, fired up like that is incredible to hear. What do you think about Jalen Carter? Do you think he's going to have a dominant season? Do you think he can get into the Pro Bowl this year? Give me your thoughts down below. As always, appreciate everybody tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, real quick, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. It is the great BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So go ahead and find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions.